Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Go Pro. Eric Worre's book, Go Pro. 7 Steps to Becoming a Network Marketing Professional. That's what we're working on, and we're on step number 4, skill number 4 today, which is following up with your prospects. The fortune is in the follow-up. My name is Nate Appleby. I'm a young living silver network marketing leader in the industry and knocking on the doorsteps of gold. So excited to be with you guys. Whatever your goals are, whatever your dreams are, you can achieve those. Believe in yourself, believe in the company, believe in these simple steps, these skills that can really help you progress quicker, grow a team quicker. That's the whole point of me doing these videos for you guys, is learn from my mistakes and don't make those, and take the successes we've had and build on those faster. It took me way too long to get to silver. Now I've been a silver for 14 months consistently, which is great. I've got great stability. I have residual income. It's phenomenal. It's wonderful. But I did it wrong. And I did a few things right. And so that's what I'm trying to teach you guys is do the things that have gone well for other people. And that's the purpose of this video. And it works. These skills work. Eric Worre knows what he's talking about. So let's jump in here. So we talked about the fortune is in the follow-up. And what's pretty cool about skill number 4 when you follow up with people is the follow-up is really the invite over and over and over. So that's all it is you're going back to that invite and you're setting up another exposure. You're setting up another appointment until that person, that prospect, is ready to get started with us. Basically, you just keep them in the filter. Keep inviting, keep following up, keep inviting, keep following up. Give them what they need to help move them along the way. So do what you said you would do. Be the person who does what they say and what they're going to do. People are going to respect that. If you say you're going to follow up with them, you're going to check in with them, Tuesday at 8 a.m., do it. Do it. Just do it. That's the bottom line. Don't, something came up, something got in the way. My gosh, be professional. Do this thing, okay? So let's get into the first concept. Is following up is just simply doing what you said you would do. And one of the things I think that's really neat, Eric tells a story in the book about this gentleman that came to visit his dad at the office. They were in real estate business. And he was there at 5 minutes to 10. 10 o'clock a.m. was the appointment. And at 10 o'clock, Eric's dad wasn't there yet. The gentleman gets up, tells Eric, if your dad wants to reschedule our appointment, then have him call me. Eric was like, wait, what? It's 10 o'clock right now. I'm sure my dad will be here any minute. And the gentleman was like, listen, Eric, you're either early or you're late. My time is valuable. Your dad's not here. If he wants to reschedule, he can call me. Needless to say, his dad showed up. He was dumbstruck, and he had just kind of been casual with his time that day. But he learned valuably from that experience, which was you're either early or you're late. So if you say you're going to follow up Tuesday at 8 a.m., you follow up Tuesday at 8 a.m. If you're going to meet somebody for an appointment, don't schedule yourself back to back so much that you're running late from another appointment. Don't do that to somebody. Make sure you've got enough time between your appointments. So respect your time, respect their time. Very important. Concept number 2, the only reason to have an exposure is to set up the next exposure. Okay, so what do we mean by that? Well, what's an exposure? First of all, we've talked about it a little bit. An exposure could be an intro to oils class, and they weren't ready to get started yet. They needed to think about some things, research some things, smell an oil, try an oil, talk to the spouse. Whatever they needed to do, they need another exposure. And so what you've done is you set up another exposure or a follow-up, and that could be a video link, that could be a book, that could be a magazine, that could be you come over and sit down on a one-to-one again. It could be a 3-way call. Exposures could be just about anything that keeps people, our prospects, in the filter. Remember, the filter process is simply keeping a prospect moving along the way that will help them make an educated decision about our company and product. Very simple. That's what exposures are. Exposures keep them in the pipeline. So when you understand that the purpose of an exposure is not to sign up that person, it's kind of eye-opening. You realize, oh, wait a minute, I thought this Intro to Oils class was to get, everybody to sign up. Well, some people will be ready to sign up at that intro class. Some people will be ready when you sit down one-on-one with them to get started. Some people will be ready with a 10-minute video. Some people will be ready by just simply trying an oil and it helps with their occasional pain and they can't believe it. They want to get started. Not everybody's going to be ready right away, and that's okay. Think about yourself or think about other people you've known that maybe love the company and the product now, but they weren't ready the first time. So important to understand, don't get all caught up in the fact that everybody's going to get started right away. It's no big deal. You are here to educate them and take them through the pipeline of exposures, whatever they need. You are the educator. You are the consultant helping them learn what they need to learn. So the purpose of having an exposure is to set up the next exposure. And eventually, those exposures will lead to them, the prospect, getting started. So it comes back to the professional invite. The invite, skill number 2, and the follow-up, skill number 4, are the same. They're tied in. They work together constantly. And skill number 3 is just what's your exposure you're giving them, and how do you handle yourself professionally with them. So basically, you invite your prospects. They have to take a look at what you have to offer. At the end of that process, you go through several steps to the next exposure or your follow-up call. Now, let's say they didn't get a chance to review a video link, and they said they would. So here's what we might do. You could say, that's okay. I understand sometime life gets busy. When do you think you could watch it for sure? Trust me, it works. It works when you say that. It might sound a little corny, like, why are you saying for sure twice? Well, remember we said for sure, when can you watch it for sure the last time? And they said they would for sure. Remember, they confirmed your initial appointment. Life got in the way. This is where you're going to kind of weed through the chaff a little bit, and you're going to figure out, are they serious or aren't they? And that's the whole process. You're weeding people out of, are they the right fit for our company, for your team, that kind of thing. So Eric used for sure for many years, and it worked great. So just go through that invite process again, confirm the appointment, confirm the callback, the meeting, and you're good to go. That's it. Now, when you're following up, one of the best questions that you can use is not, what do you think? Or what did you think? It's very open-ended. And actually what it does is it invites the critical thinking part of the prospect's mind to find something negative, to pick it apart. One of the best questions you can ask somebody, because remember, a consultant asks questions. They don't tell, talk. Ask questions. Get the other person to convince themselves that they're ready to do this, that they like this. So let's ask them, what did you like best? What did you like the most about what you just saw or heard? This question takes the prospect into a very positive direction. It will also help direct you into what their interest might be. So if you do an intro class or a one-on-one, and you go through the product, and you go through a little bit of the business opportunity, and they're going to come back with you with what they like most. Well, that's going to direct you with the direction of your next questions. If they say product, then you're thinking in your head, my next exposure, if they're not ready to get started, is going to be product related. If they say something about financial freedom, I hate my job, your next exposure or conversation or question needs to lead in that direction if they're not ready to get started, so you can help move higher up. Another great question to ask, and I've used this quite often with people, is on a scale of 1 to 10. This would be after you've asked a couple questions and gotten the feel of where they're at. You could say on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being zero interest and 10 being ready to get started right away, where are you right now? with this question, anything over a 1 is good, because anything over 1 means they have some interest. And you can move somebody from a 1 to a 10 eventually with the right amount of exposures and professionalism. Most of the time, you're going to get something like a 5 or a 6. So no matter what number they give you, all you're going to do is ask them how you can help them get to a higher number. So how can I help you get to a higher number? And it's probably going to stem back to what they liked most. They want to hear more about that. Usually, they'll answer back again with what they liked. So but let's say this. Let's say, you've asked a couple questions. They really liked what they've seen. They love the smell of the oils. They like the product, whatever it is. They like the opportunity. And it's very positive. They give you a high number, like a 7, 8, 9, maybe even. You can go directly into, a closing process of some kind. And here's what Eric talks about. Actually, we're going to get that in the next section. So I'm going to kind of keep going and kind of pave the way. Sorry about that. So if somebody wants to try the product, help them do that. Set up a follow-up date. Set up a time, set up a call, set up a meeting, follow up. They might need to talk to their spouse. Great. You send them home with materials they can share with their spouse. Set up a date and time when you can follow up the next exposure. Never finish the exposure without setting up the next exposure. You're not selling anything. You're moving them through the filtering process to help them make an educated decision on our company and whether or not they're a good fit for your team. That's it. Concept number 3. It takes an average of 4 to 6 exposures for the average person to join a network marketing company. Now, this isn't always the case. I think with Young Living, for example, 95% of the time we all lead with the product. Some of us, it's 100%. I want to challenge you to change that a little bit, and we're going to work on that. But that's mindset. So this is referring to most companies who have this business opportunity and a product to go with. Young Living is an amazing product company, and oh, by the way, we have a business. Okay, so it takes an average of 4 to 6 times. Now, it's not often that many times, I don't believe, in Young Living, because we see very often intro to oils classes, people get started right away. They smell, they try the oils, they love it. They've been looking for something like this. People are really looking for a product like this. You know what I mean? But just keep in your mind, remember that exposure to exposure to exposure. Invite follow-up, ask the right questions. Where can you guide them to the next exposure that'll help them move up to an 8, 9, a 10 where they're ready to get started and be on your team? So be a pro. Understand that it takes 4 to 6 times. For every person that takes 1 exposure, you're going to find somebody sometime that's going to be 7, 8, or 9 exposures. But if you're a pro and you take them through that invite follow-up process professionally, give them the right exposures all along the way, that person that took 8 or 9 exposures, what if they end up being a diamond on your team? Some people just need that many exposures. Just trust the system. Works very well. Keep your urgency, but have patience. That leads into concept number 4. Concept number 4 is all about condensing the exposures for better results. So let's say a poser, Eric Worre talks about posers, amateurs, and pros. A poser would prospect somebody one time and move on. Okay, I mean, that's it. They're like, oh, they didn't get started, time to move on. Well, that's lame, right? But that's why they're a poser. Amateurs will prospect someone several times or move them through several exposures over time. It might be, a couple months. A pro is going to condense those exposures into the shortest amount of time as possible. People are busy. They're constantly distracted in life. When you're approaching them to take a look at something new, it's important to keep their interest. It's important to keep their interest up, their emotion level up, especially. And so the best way to do that is keep the exposures close together, for example, within 48 hours. 24 to 48 hours is great, So if you go slow, they might see a video, then a few weeks later, they go to a conference call, then a month later, you see what I mean? You're not going to get them, okay? So if you have somebody check out a video, join a conference call, try the product, get on a webinar, get on a 3-way call, come to a live meeting, or any combination of these within a week, you are giving them a huge opportunity to really understand what you have to offer and if they want to join your team. Now, what's going to happen? There's going to be questions. There's going to be objections at every step of this process. This is natural. This is normal. You need to be ready for it, prepared for it, and understand that not everybody's going to roll over and sign up. And that's okay. Just because they don't roll over and give you a credit card doesn't mean that they're going to be loving these products or that they can be a business builder of any kind. You've just got to be able to know that, hey, no reason to be defensive. They just have questions. And so let's take a look at that. A lot of the time, your prospect will be just bringing up things or objections to sound intelligent. It's very true. I've done that myself. There's times when I've been approached, I've told you guys 100 times for network marketing companies, 30, 40 different companies over the last 20 years, okay? And it's just, I've used that excuse myself. I'll throw out an objection just to sound smart. Bottom line, people do it. Helps them feel better. How you respond, though, is extremely important. So don't get defensive. Don't plant any seeds of doubt in their minds. If you act defensively, you'll chase them away. Your goal is education and understanding, so not to win the argument. Very important. Your job is to help blind people see. When someone brings up a negative question or offer an objection, all they're really doing is helping you identify a blind spot. It's helpful to know what these are so you can assist the prospect in eliminating them. Objections usually fall into one of two categories, according to Eric. The first is the prospect's limiting belief in their abilities. Now, this is more for business related. It's very important to understand this because for those of us that are trying to build a business and maybe came in the back door wanting to share this with people, we're afraid of the business, we're afraid what people will think. Again, those are just mind games you've got to work out yourself. But the bottom line is with the business, people have two problems. Number one, they have a limiting belief in their own abilities. Pretty normal. We're all beat up in this world. We have our own experiences. We believe we can or can't do something. So they have a limiting belief in themselves. Number two is they might have a limiting belief in network marketing. A lot of people have that because Uncle Bob was in Amway 27 years ago and did it for 2 months and quit. So it doesn't work. Or Aunt Janine, sold water filters for this MLM, 17 years ago and couldn't sell one because she talked to 3 people and no one wanted them. Doesn't work, right? So they have a limiting belief either in their own abilities or in network marketing. They aren't sure that network marketing could help them achieve their goals in life. So for both categories, the best concept that you can use is empathy. Empathy. How do you relate to people? And the best way to relate to people is to let them know you are just like them. You had the same doubts, same questions, same fears. You overcame them. Believe it or not, your story and the stories of others will do more for you in overcoming objections than anything else. Use stories. The tactic is called feel, felt, found. When a prospect offers an objection, you respond by saying, I know how you feel. I felt that way before, but here's what I found. Modify it as needed, but it's very important to use feel, felt, found. So common objections are, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. It's not my thing. I'm not a salesperson. I don't know anyone. I'm too old. I don't have any experience. So, instead of saying, you don't have the money, well, don't you have a cable bill or don't you have a cell phone? That's not a good approach. Trust me. Instead, when a person says, I just don't have the money right now, here's how you can respond. I had the exact same challenge. I didn't have enough money to pay my bills, let alone start a new business. But when I thought about it, I realized if I didn't have enough money to pay my bills now, how was I going to change that in the future? I was tired of being behind. I was tired of always scrambling. I wanted more out of life. So you know what I did? I found a way. And it was the best decision I ever made. So let me ask you something. If you really felt that this was a chance for you to take control of your financial future or your health future? Do you think you could find a way to make it happen? How does that sound? Doesn't that sound good, you guys? I mean, 9 out of 10 times, they're going to agree with you they can find a way. But it's because you feel, found. Triple F, feel, felt, found. So you bonded. You told them about your pain. You've told them about how you found a way to solve it. As a result, you bonded. That's network marketing. That's relationship building. Okay? So if you don't have a personal story, use someone else's story. That's why getting together with the team, whether it's conference calls or live events or whatever it might be, that you hear each other's stories and then you can use each other's stories very well. Let's see, let's kind of move on here. The next category, like we said, was what if they have a limiting belief in network marketing? You know, is this MLM? Is this one of those things? Is this a pyramid scheme? I'm not interested in MLM. I don't want to bother my friends. How much are you making? Those are a lot of common objections I've heard before. So when something like this is said, Eric gave this example in the book and at the GoPro event that I was at a couple years ago, and it was just amazing. And basically what he says is when someone says like something like that, excuse me, and they have some emotion tied into it, he came back with, and I've done this as well, it really works. It really just gets you both on a level playing field. Because if they say something like, is this MLM? Right away, you're like, oh crap, is this MLM? In the beginning, I was like, oh no, here we go. What do I do? Now, I love it when I get this question because I know they don't understand MLM. Most people don't, right? So if they say, is this MLM? I would say, wait a minute. You got a story. What happened? Were you involved in network marketing at some point or somebody you know? Tell me about it. Well, now you've just taken every defensive barrier down and they're like, oh, I get to talk. He's not going to sell me on it. He wants me to tell my story. Wow, that's powerful. You can do that, you guys. Listen, be the consultants. Ask the right questions and listen. Get them talking. They might say, yeah, I joined a company a few years ago, bought some product, lost my money. You might say, what do you think was the reason you didn't have success? They might say, well, my friend talked me into it. I didn't have a lot of time and I thought more people would join right away, but they didn't. I guess I just lost interest. You might say, do you think you gave it a fair shot? They're probably going to say, no, not really. You would say, do you think network marketing was the problem? Or do you think maybe your timing wasn't right? Probably the timing. So you see how this dynamic can go. I mean, it can go a lot of different ways, but the most important thing is you don't act defensively. You're helping to support them, to give them the time to kind of talk about what they've experienced, what they've felt, and then you guide them through it. But I want to just say this, if you don't believe in network marketing, if you don't believe in the business model, then you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to help people with this. So you've got to believe in it first. And if you have any issues with it, call me. Let's schedule a call. Let's work through it. Let me be your consultant and help you talk through and work through it. I've done that with many people, helped many people with it. I understand how you feel. I felt that way before. Seriously. But what I found is through experiences, through meeting highly successful people who have paved the way in network marketing, I realized it's not network marketing's fault if I don't succeed. It works. Look at all these people that are earning an income in all these different companies. It works. I'm the problem. And once I realized that it was my issue with anything with network marketing, I overcame that. And I want to help you guys overcome any issues you might have as well. Moving on. If someone says, I don't want to bother my friends, I might say, what makes you think you'd be bothering your friends? Or, if you truly believed in the product, would you let your friends know about it? If I could show you how we share this product with others without it feeling or sounding like a sales pitch, would that help you? Ding, ding, ding. I think that would help. So, in summary, Chapter 2, GoPro skill number 2 and GoPro skill number 4 are intertwined. Okay? They constantly weave and work together. So go back to skill number 2, the professional invite. That's what you're doing every time you follow up. The follow-up just happens to have some other questions. Remember, you're the consultant, emotionally detached from the situation. You've set up your follow-up time, so now you follow up with them. You ask them what they like the most about what they just saw or heard. You go with that. Scale of 1 to 10, with a 1 being you have no interest in getting started or joining my team, with a 10 being you're ready to get started right now. Where are you at? They'll give you a number. Great. That's awesome. How could I help you move from that 5 to a 6? What do you need, Bob? What do you need, Joe? What do you need, Mary? What can I do to help you with that? Well, I really liked what you guys talked about with the products and how they can support the immune system. Fantastic. So if I gave you a couple oils to try, would you try them for me? You just started if I would you. There's the invite. So you just moved it from, you asked them on a scale of 1 to 10 where they're at. They gave you a number. What they liked most was the products and how they could support the immune system. You invited them back using a product to try. They said they would. Finish your follow-up process. Schedule the appointment for the next follow-up, 24 to 48 hours at the most. Keep their interest piped. Keep it up here. Keep it up here, right where they, the emotions are high. They're trying it. They're loving it. Exposure to exposure. You go into each follow-up ready to give them another follow-up, ready for another exposure. Have in your toolkit several different exposure options. Talk with myself, talk with your team leader. What are those exposures we can use? What are the questions you can ask to help people move up from on the scale of 1 to 10 so that they're ready to get started? You're a consultant, education, and understanding. Remember, you've got, whether it's the product, you've got an amazing product we can offer people. Amazing product. Business opportunity, this is the best business model there is. Believe it. Own it. You've got an opportunity, as Randy Gage would say, he'd go present to someone, he'd get in the car when he's done, he's like, who's next? I've got $5 million to offer people. Do you guys believe that? He believed he had $5 million he could offer someone. Who's next? Who's next? We've talked about silver in the business and going silver, and how silver on average is going to earn you about $1,500 a month. Check the income disclosure statement. But on average, about $1,500 a month in the beginning, depending upon structure and total volume. But I've been a silver now for 14 months, and I've doubled that. Okay, so you can earn quite a bit of money residually as a silver. So what if you add another silver to your team? What if you add another silver? What if you go silver? Look what you can offer people. Okay, and it just grows from there. So believe in yourself. Follow these skills, you guys. Really practice them. Watch these videos over and over. Learn them. Role play with people. Work with your leader. Give me a call. Work with me. I'd love to work with you to help you with these things, because we're a team. The success of the team hinges on everybody raising each other up. The more we raise each other up, the more I can help you guys go silver, earn an income. Guess what? I move up as well. It's not greed, okay? It's just a beautiful business model. It's teamwork. It's me reaching down, helping you, bring you up to where you want to go, and it naturally raises me up a little bit too. It's a wonderful business model, okay? Embrace it. Love you guys. Go silver. You can do this, okay? Work on these skills. Nate's out.